Oh, oh, well, it's safe to say I haven't worn this since 2009. Um, Thought I'd wear an old Manly jersey, 2009 home jersey. Look, I understand I'm a father now, but this is getting ridiculous. I think the dad bod has officially reached us. I understand I've gotten bigger since 2009, but my God, I understand I was having some chockies through the emotional eating of over the last 2 weeks, being a Manly fan, but this is getting out of hand. Woo! Jeez. I even make that sound when I sit down in the seat, just that, where the fuck are the twisties? All right, let's get started. The round preview for round 4 NRL 2026. Thursday night, you've got the Manly Sea Eagles and the Sydney Roosters. Fucking hell. Next game. No. Only joking. I'm going to go. Oh, fuck. I think the Roosters are going to win. So I think Manly will lift for it. I think they'll be better than last week, without a doubt, 2 weeks ago against Newcastle. But I just think the Roosters are going to be too strong. I just can't understand the selections once again with Seabold, Corey Waddell, 15. Brandon Wakeham is at 14. Fuck. I mean, I don't know. I just don't. It doesn't fill me with any confidence. I mean, I look at the Roosters forward pack compared to Manly's. Billy Smith comes into the side. I understand he's a centre, but the forwards, you got Lindsay Collins, Nafahu White, Angus Crichton, Siwa Wong, Egan Butcher. Yeah, look, I just think Roosters will win, unfortunately, as much as it breaks my heart. I did say at the beginning of the season that I didn't think Manly will make the 8, but I think the Roosters will be too strong here. Roosters 1-12 in a close game. I think Manly will lift for it, but I just don't think they've got the cattle to win this game, and I think most people would agree with me, as much as it breaks my heart to admit it. All right, the second game of the round is because I'm struggling to breathe in this jersey. Woo. Just looked at my gut, couldn't believe how big it's looking. All right, Warriors and the Tigers. I'm going to go the Wars in this game. I'm just not convinced Adam Dewey plays. I understand he's named at the 7 jersey, but the poor bugger couldn't even walk off the field last week. I don't think he's 100%, and I wouldn't risk him, especially if you've got Latu Fainu named on the reserves bench. I believe that Latu Fainu will be the halfback in this game and will line up alongside Jock Madden at 6. I love the Warriors. I didn't have them in my 8. Starting to realise that perhaps I was wrong there. I don't know. They've got talent, the Warriors, but what they're proving to me as a rugby league fan and everyone around in rugby league is that they genuinely do have this next man up mentality, right? So if the Tigers can take a leaf out of the Warriors book and give the Warriors a taste of their own medicine to a degree, and respectfully, and I mean that as a compliment, like the Warriors, the way in which they can lift when Mitch Barnett and Luke Metcalf, sure, they didn't win many games after them, but they still tried, they still performed, and they ended up still making the finals. So, I think without Mitch Barnett for 2 weeks, they smashed the Roosters, and I don't know. Mitch Barnett comes in last week, only plays in the second half. Luke Metcalf, his first game back. Don't know. I like the Warriors in this game. If it was at Leichhardt or Campbelltown Stadium, I'd probably be a bit more hopeful for the Tigers. But the odds in this game are absolutely fucking ridiculous. I don't know why the Tigers are $4.20. I saw the other day. I don't understand that. I think Tigers are a much bigger chance than that. But I do believe the Warriors will win, but it's certainly not a fucking certainty. I could see the Tigers upsetting them because I rate Latu Fino. I mean, I'd rather see him play than Jock Madden. No disrespect, but I think Jock Madden can sort of cover a lot more off the bench. You could put him at dummy half. As Latu Fino's such a gun. When he left Manly, I was devastated. So now I got the Wars winning this game. The third game of the round is between the Broncos and the Dolphins. The big out in this game is obviously Payne Haas. Adam Reynolds comes back in, which puts Ben Hunt back from halfback last week against Melbourne back to the bench. Personally, in my opinion, I think Brisbane are a better side when Ben Hunt is at halfback. I feel like he unlocks a lot more players around him than what Adam Reynolds does. I understand Adam Reynolds probably has a better kicking game, but in terms of Ben Hunt being able to get the best out of players around him, I genuinely believe they do better. And Reece Walsh is unlocked more when Ben Hunt plays 7. So yeah, going to be interesting here. I believe that the Broncos win, and I think it could be Golden Point. I really believe this game could be a Golden Point thriller at Suncorp Stadium Friday night football. I like the Dolphins. I like Max Plath at number 9. I understand Jeremy Marshall-King will come back in the side in a few weeks' time, but Max Plath to me, he's got to play for Queensland this year. He can cover 9, 13 off the bench. You could put him at front row and he'd do a job for you. He played a bit of back row last year as well. Yeah, I just think, I think Brisbane, but with no confidence, I'm going to go Broncos in this, but it's a hard one. This could definitely be an upset as well. Something is telling me, I understand I'm going against what my gut feel is, but something's telling me that there'll be a lot of upsets this round. I don't know why, but see how we go. The Bulldogs and the Knights. I'm going to go the Bulldogs in this game. Just think they're a class above. I think Newcastle, obviously, Fletcher Sharp comes back in, but they are still missing Kalen Ponga, Dylan Brown. And I tipped Newcastle last week. I tipped the Warriors originally, and then I admitted on the podcast that I actually went, no, fuck it. I'm going to go the Knights at home. I changed my tip about 15 minutes before kickoff, and that was a dumb decision. But I just believed that, Newcastle, yeah, I don't know. They still have a bit to offer. I'm going the Bulldogs. I just think they're a class above, a division above. They're just too good, too much experience. And I think the loss of Kalen Ponga and Dylan Brown are just too big. They can't be replaced. So I think Bulldogs are almost certainties in this game as the first game, Saturday afternoon football. All right. The Panthers, yeah, this is going to be a good game. Obviously, this is the 5:30 game, Panthers Parramatta Combank Stadium. I would expect a sellout for this game. I'm just going to go Penrith because I basically can't tip against them at the moment. I don't think, ever since I've been watching rugby league, I'm going to say 2001, 2002 was the first grand final I ever watched. So I'm going to say 2002. Ever since I've been watching rugby league consistently for the last 24 years, I've never seen a better 3 rounds from any team, ever. And I've got a freakish memory. I couldn't remember what happened yesterday. I couldn't remember what my wife's name is, what my kids' name are. But I can absolutely remember Ben Walker's stats from the 2003 season for Manly. It's a joke, honey, if you're listening to this at 11 o'clock at night on YouTube. Breastfeeding, it's a joke. Okay. Just letting you know. All right. Just so I don't get in trouble. It's a joke. Just making that clear before you knock on the door at midnight and wake me up. All right. Yeah, I just think Penrith are too good in this game. Jack Cogger off the bench, Isaiah Yeo at lock. Yeah, I just think they're too good. Penrith, I'm sorry, Parramatta. Parramatta are a bit of a bogey team, though, for Penrith, but I just think, you know what, I think the loss of Jermaine Hopgood is a bigger loss than what we think. Like, he's a huge loss for Parramatta. Huge loss. So I think Penrith win that well, unfortunately. But Parramatta have done well to win the last couple of games. Cowboys and the Melbourne Storm in Townsville is the third game on Friday night. That kicks off 7:35, Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Look, I'm going to go the Cowboys in this one. I can't take myself seriously here. This is bad. Look at that. Connor 10 years ago. Connor now. Connor before being a dad. Connor now. Oh, well. Oh, how good's rugby league? All right, Cowboys. I'm not going to say Cowboys to win. I'm going to go the Melbourne Storm to win this and fucking demolish them. I love the Cowboys. They're actually one of my favourite teams, and they're my favourite Queensland team. But Melbourne will be fucking up and above after last week. They will not be liking the fact that they lost last week against the Brisbane Broncos 14-0 at halftime. Fuck, they should have won that. They really should have won that. The Cowboys, for me, will probably start well, but I feel like their defense is just not good enough. And I feel that this is a huge game in terms of the future of Todd Payton. So I'm going to go the Melbourne Storm to win this and win this very well. I think this could be the biggest scoreline of the week with the Bulldogs beating the Knights as well. Storm, yeah, I like Jack Howarth. I think he's been really good in the centres to start the season this year. He's been a decent player. He's been a good player the last couple of years, but now where I feel like he's added more size to him, he's added more agility, like he's stepping off his left foot a lot more than what he has. It's a bit more damaging in attack. He's got that offloading ability too and that great fend. So I feel like he's gotten bigger, stronger, better. I think Jack Howarth is a smoky for Origin. I really do. So the next game, Sunday afternoon football. This is the first game on Sunday afternoon football between the Canberra Raiders and the Cronulla Sharks. I'm going to tip the Raiders in this one, but this could definitely be another golden point game. I think Cronulla will lift. They were really disappointing last week, and even though I thought they played pretty well against Penrith, I thought last week was one of the worst performances I've seen from them in a year or two. I think at the end of the day, I think the Raiders win only because they're playing at home. To be honest with you, if this was at Shark Park, I genuinely think I would tip Cronulla. So I think it will come down to the home team advantage here. If the Raiders can be disciplined with the football, which I believe they'll take plenty out of last week, and I think just the way they defended. I know that Bulldogs won, but the defense overall was great. The way they take chances in attack, I genuinely believe that if Thursday night football last week was a night game and it was a night game, but if the weather was clear, I actually think the Raiders probably go along and win that. I think their errors, they couldn't really adjust to the wet weather. So yeah, I think the Raiders will bounce back after a loss. Both teams lost last week, or both teams have lost the last 2 weeks. So big game for these two sides. You don't want to be 3 losses. So yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to go the Raiders. Sunday afternoon football in Canberra. It's not a nice place to go and travel for Cronulla. I think Canberra. Look, I understand Josh Papali'i is a big loss, but Raiders like the Warriors and Melbourne and Penrith, these kind of sides have the next man up mentality. And, I think it's going to be a really close game. I do give the Sharks a big chance of winning this game, but I think the Raiders will just get them in the end. And of course, I think it was round 4 last year, round 5 last year when they versed each other at Canberra, and Canberra won in the final play of the game, scoring a try. I think it was Sebastian Kris that sealed it. So, yeah, going to be really interesting there. All right, let's go to the Gold Coast Titans and the Dragons now. This game, I was pretty much going to go the Dragons in this game until I saw that Ryan Couchman was out. He's been really impressive for the Dragons the opening few games. Just doing all the little things right, defensively strong, perhaps too strong last week. He did a hip drop tackle. Him being out for 4 weeks is a big blow, but I'm so torn. I'm so torn in this game. I am going to tip the Titans, and I have no reason why. I just don't know why. I just don't know. They're at home. That's probably the only thing I can think about. It's just such a toss of the coin. Yeah. I mean, Jaden Campbell needs to be at his best. I think both AJ Brimson and Campbell need to start playing consistent, good football in the halves. I understand Campbell scored a great intercept try last year, but I want to see them connecting a little bit more in the halves. Dan Atkinson and Kyle Flanagan aren't connecting at all. Individually, they're not playing poor football, but as a halves combination, they're really struggling to lead the side around. So similar situation there. I'm going to go the Titans only because they're at home. Unfortunately, that's the only reason I can give. I just think it's too close. This in the opening 4 weeks of the season, this was the hardest one to tip for me. This is so hard. So I'll go Gold Coast, but obviously the Dragons there are a big chance of winning. Now let's go through the upsets. I could see, honestly, Manly could win. I don't think they will, but they could. Like, they genuinely get up and beat the better sides and lose to the sides that they're meant to fucking flog. So they could, like, they've coming off a bye. They could beat the Roosters. I don't think they will, but they certainly can. It's not a definite that they'll lose. The Tigers can beat the fucking Warriors. Absolutely. Absolutely they can. The Tigers can beat the Warriors. Friday night football, the Dolphins definitely can beat Brisbane without paying Haas. Fuck, the more I think about it, I'm going, shit, maybe I should just go upsets. Like, so many games are 50-50s. Manly aren't 50-50. They're not, well, they are expected to win from us fans, but there's so many games here. I think the Roosters will win, but Saturday, Newcastle, I probably don't give Newcastle a chance against the Bulldogs at all, unfortunately. But you watch Newcastle win over the weekend now that I've said that. Panthers. Yeah, I'll give Parramatta a chance. They could upset the Panthers, but I don't think they will. But I don't think that's a definite win to Penrith. I think the Cowboys will definitely get beaten by the Storm. Yeah, I'm going to stick with my tips there. But I, as I said at the start of the podcast, I reckon a few upsets will happen this round. I could see maybe 4 or 5 upsets happening because it's normally that time of the season. The last few years, around round 4 to round 9, that period, there are a shit ton of upsets. So it's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens in this round of football. That is the Rugby League Forecast podcast. I'm going to take this 2009 jersey off. I bought this at Rebel Sport at Warringah Mall. But I'm going to wrap up the podcast now. I've previewed all the games and I genuinely cannot breathe anymore. I haven't worn this since I was about 14 years of age. So I'm going to take this off and be able to breathe again. All right. Thank you very much for listening on Spotify and watching on YouTube. If you enjoy what you're following, enjoy what you're listening to, please follow on Spotify and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Come on, Manly, this Thursday night. Come on. Fucking lift. Cherry Evans back at Brookvale. Fucking Jamal Fogarty just chip and chase all over him, brother. Come on, Manly. Fuck yeah. 40-0. Oh, how good would it be if Manly win? All right, I'll wrap up the podcast now. See ya.